It's time to talk about the important issues for the natural state. And there's only one place to turn for that. Opportunity Arkansas's Nick Horton. You can find Nick's work at opportunityarkansas.org.
And welcome back to First News, a Wednesday edition, just about 20 minutes in front of 7 o'clock, and that means it is time for Nick Horton, the founder and CEO of Opportunity Arkansas, to join us once again. And Nick, good morning. Welcome back to the show.
Good morning. How are you, brother?
I'm very good. Appreciate you jumping on with us bright and early. Nick,
you got all your Christmas shopping done? Don't lie.
No, but did you say you did?
No, well, no. I asked you. Don't ask me.
Oh, I thought you said that. I said like I did. No, well, no. I would say I'm 95%.
Okay.
Where's your
that's
percentage?
That's a private matter. I'm not prepared to go into that. I got
single digits.
I got some work. I got some work to do.
Single digits is what that is. So, hey, you know what, Nick? It's the thought that counts. But I will tell you this: that thought doesn't matter when you have young kids. So you better get to it.
Well, the kids, I think, my wife takes care of all that. So I think we're probably well on our way, if not completely done with the kids. It's the gifts for the wife that are going to have me in trouble. But don't tell her I said that.
Well, I won't, but I'm telling you, there's this wonderful thing out there. It's called Amazon. They send it right to your house. It's a beautiful thing. You don't have to go anywhere.
It's my dear friend.
Yeah, you got to get on that thing. It's a wonderful place. So getting into some of the action this morning, Nick, I wanted to ask you about this ruling from the Arkansas Supreme Court. Ruled recently that the state legislature can amend or repeal a voter-approved amendment with a 2/3 majority vote. And so I just want to clarify here. So this is saying that even if we enact something by way of a public vote, the legislature can then turn around and change it anyways, despite what the citizens said, what we voted for. Is that what that says?
So that is generally correct, and there's two ways, Toby. I mean, this is a really significant ruling, and there's two reasons why we know that for sure. Number one, because the left is having an absolute freaking meltdown about it. The death of democracy, the end of the people's voice in their government. I mean, they are just absolutely melting down over there.
Yeah.
But the second reason why, and I think this is something that perhaps unsurprisingly has been kind of glossed over in a lot of the news stories and the coverage of this, is that this ruling aligns with the plain reading of the state constitution.
Okay.
This provision of allowing the legislature to change these initiated amendments, and by the way, not just initiated amendments, but also amendments that were referred out by the legislature that then the people consented to, that is in the original language of the state constitution. Here's what the state constitution says. No measure by a vote of the people shall be amended or repealed by the General Assembly or by any city council except upon a yea and nay vote on a roll call of 2/3 of all members of each house of the General Assembly. That is in the state constitution, and the legislature at times has operated on this appropriately because that's what's in the state constitution. Now, at some point in the 1950s, we had an activist court that ignored the plain reading of the Constitution and said, well, they used the phrase inconceivable, one of my favorite movies, Princess Bride, inconceivable. But the Supreme Court used that language and said, it is inconceivable that the legislature would have the authority to amend an act that was approved by the people. Well, it's inconceivable to me that those justices apparently couldn't read the plain language of the state constitution because that's what it says. So there's some practical implications of this, which I'd be happy to digest a little bit more as well. But ultimately, this is a check and a balance. One, it's a restoration of what the state constitution, again, actually says. But this is not all of a sudden some sort of gutting of the initiative process. It's a 2/3 threshold, and that's a pretty high threshold to meet, even in a supermajority Republican legislature, I got to tell you. But it's a backstop, and we've seen again and again, whether it's casinos, medical marijuana, the Education Rights Amendment, this radical abortion amendment that came up in 2024, that the left knows the only way that they can get bad policy into the state of Arkansas is through the initiative process and by circumventing the people's elected officials in the legislature, and this is a check and balance on that.
Now, I don't want to put you on the spot here. Is this fairly common in other states? Do other states kind of have this same type of rule? Is this common across our country?
In terms of the legislature being able to amend after it's passed, I'm not sure. I know there are some states. Well, let me say two things about that. Number one, the fact that we even have an initiative process is a little bit rare, is a little bit of a privilege, frankly.
Yeah.
About half the states don't have an initiative process at all. So the idea that this is some sort of attack on the fabric of the country, that this is some sort of God-given right that the citizens can exercise direct democracy. I mean, we don't have a direct democracy, and we don't have a direct democracy for a reason. And the idea that this is some sort of sacred, untouchable process has always been a little odd to me, because a lot of states don't even have this process at all. There are some states, though, Toby, where the legislature has a right to approve or decline these initiatives that are passed by the people. So there's an even more drastic lower threshold in those states to say, okay, well, this thing came through the ballot. Now the legislature is going to have a say on it before it actually goes into effect. So it is a thing that's out there. But again, I just want to reemphasize, this is in the state constitution. This has been in the state constitution, I assume, since 1836 or 76, whenever this version of our state constitution was ratified. And this is the language that is in there, that has been in there from the beginning. And I do want to say, major kudos to Governor Sanders, because of the Supreme Court justices, the conservative Supreme Court justices that she's appointed, that are now getting some of these things cleaned up, where we've been operating the state and the legislature has been forced to operate in a way that doesn't align with the plain reading of our state constitution for so long. But because we now have a Supreme Court that is aligned with the English language, and the original language of what's in our state constitution, we're now going to see a lot of realignment here. And again, I want to emphasize, this is not some sort of blank check or some sort of free-for-all that the legislature is being given. It's aligning with the way it was always supposed to be done, but also a 2/3 threshold. Politically speaking, practically speaking, a ballot measure passes with 70% of the vote, or even 55% of the vote. It's going to be really difficult for the legislature to come in and immediately start tinkering with that.
Sure.
So the practical realities and the likelihood of the legislature just all of a sudden completely overthrowing the will of the people, I think is really unlikely. And it's a little disingenuous to see all these people out there that are freaking out, saying that, this is just another power grab by the legislature. It's just not going to really play out that way. It's hard for me to imagine.
Well, and ultimately, we should follow what the Constitution of our state says, and so it's good that we've got that cleared up. So,
you would think, and I will say, look, again, the left has used the minimum wage increases that we've seen, the casino amendments that we've seen, the medical marijuana stuff that we've seen. I mean, the left has, over time, we have this smorgasbord, this Christmas tree of a constitution now, where the left has just come in and just tacked this stuff on. They get it on the ballot, they lie to voters about what it's going to do, and they write these misleading ballot titles, and then things get passed, and all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, wait a minute, we voted for that? What is that going to do? How much is that going to decrease my take-home pay? How much is that going to cost me? Wait a minute, we're going to have a casino built in my backyard? And voters are regularly surprised and misled about these ballot initiatives. So in my view, yes, we should be operating, obviously, in a way that aligns with the state constitution, but this is an important check and balance, and I think it's appropriate that it's a 2/3 threshold, that it's going to have to be a higher bar that the legislature is going to have to meet. But we should have a backstop to say, well, wait a minute, the people that are drafting these things, there's one being circulated right now that hasn't been approved yet by the Attorney General's office, but some sort of Green New Deal style left-wing environmental wacko amendment that's being floated out there. And you read the language, and it's like, well, we should do everything we can to preserve nature and everyone's for that. But a lot of times these ballot amendments, they're not written by constitutional experts. They're not written by lawyers, and they're certainly not written by conservative policy experts. And so they get shoved through the ballot. Voters are misled about what they do, and then we're all left holding the bag. And so I think it's a very important check and balance that, again, is going to get us in line with the way this was always supposed to work. But it's a good thing that we can have a little bit of a backstop and a little bit of a check on some of these left-wing ballot initiatives.
No, I'm glad that you kind of explained that out, so that we kind of understand that this takes us back to what the Constitution says here in our state, and I think that's a good ruling at this point. Nick, wanted to so this is going to be your final appearance on the show here in 2025, and so as you look back over this year, thousands of pieces of legislation that Opportunity Arkansas has dealt with. Of course, during the session was a lot of it. You got all the EFA news that's been going on around the LEARNS Act. And so as you look back, what do you find are some of the biggest wins for Opportunity Arkansas this year? And then what are you guys planning in 2026? As you look forward, what are some of the things that you're hoping to really work on in 2026 as well?
Well, a lot to unpack and a lot of really important work that happened earlier in the year in the legislative session. As you mentioned, I think couple of the first things that come to mind, the repeal of the state grocery tax. I mean, that was something that we had been beating the drum on for 3 years, and Governor Beebe, a Democrat, had promised 15 years ago that he was going to do that and never got it done. We led the charge. Representative Kendon Underwood was an incredible partner on that, and helped lead the charge to get that done. When was the last time, Toby, you heard state government or any government completely eliminating a tax? I mean, we completely took a tax off the books. It's extremely rare. And $10 million, people say, well, it's not that significant, but it is significant. It's going to lower the cost of groceries, and we got a tax completely off the books, which is a really great thing. There were several school board reforms, making sure that voters know when their school board elections are going to be, creating some more clarity and alignment around the terms of school board members so that we can start to see more improvement in our public schools, which is really, really important. There were several negative attacks on the Education Freedom Program, and we were able to lead and play an instrumental role in defeating almost all of those. And SB 625, which we've talked a lot about, and unfortunately still took us a couple steps backwards, but because of our work and advocacy, that bill was about 75% of the bad things in that bill were removed, and it moved a lot more in the right direction. So a lot of really good things. Looking ahead to next year, we're not going to have a session, but we're gearing up. We're going to be ready. We've already been talking about it here today, these left-wing ballot amendments that are coming back. Voters are going to be given, if any of the true story, they're going to be given very little of the actual story of the impact of what some of these left-wing ballot amendments would do to their pocketbooks, to their families, to their kids' education options. So we're going to be doing a lot of work, once again, to educate voters and taxpayers to make sure that they know what these left-wing ideas would do to them and their families. And, we're hopeful. Look, there's going to be a fiscal session. There's talk about maybe a special session to do some income tax cuts. That's something we're really, really optimistic about and really hopeful that the legislature will come through on with $700 million in surpluses over the last couple fiscal years.
That's right.
It's just absolutely unacceptable if that doesn't happen. And so really optimistic. A lot more I could say, a lot that we've got planned. But we're really getting excited for 2026.
Well, and I will let everybody know Nick has agreed to a new contract for 2026, and so that is good that you'll be joining us in the new year. But of course,
let me say
yes.
Before you cut me off, let me just say thank you sincerely to you, to KRN, to everyone. I mean, this is I guess we're 18 months, but this is kind of our second calendar year that we're wrapping up doing this segment, and really grateful. It's a lot of fun. I hope it's valuable for y'all and for your listeners, but just super grateful for the opportunity to come on every week and looking forward to keeping it going.
We get a ton of positive feedback. Sometimes there's people that are against what's being said. As always, there's people on both sides, but we get a ton of positive feedback, Nick, when you're on the air with us. And so that's definitely appreciated. Obviously talking about things that are very important to our listeners here in Arkansas. Of course, if you want to make sure to follow along with what's going on with Opportunity Arkansas, of course, through the end of this year and then through the new year in 2026, opportunityarkansas.org is the website. You can find them. They've got a great YouTube channel, got a Facebook page. They got all the social media sites is where you can follow Opportunity Arkansas. But Nick, I sure hope that you and your family and everybody at Opportunity Arkansas have a Merry Christmas, have a great New Year as well. And of course, as I said, we got you signed up for 2026, so we're looking forward to that as well.
Can't wait. Merry Christmas to you and Jay and everybody over there. And so grateful for y'all and and looking forward to another great year. We've got a
Yeah.
lot to do, but we're ready.
Yeah.
So
No.
we'll talk to you in the next year.